Hi everybody, Ken Krushka here. So, since this is pointing at this computer screen at the moment, I'll tell you, I had to put my cat down this past week. He was of course, my typewriter helper and such, so now it's just me and the dog. But in reminiscing about old times with the cat and whatever, I took on this clock here, speaking of time. This is an antique clock. It's a brass clock. This is the cage that the birds were in, and then of course this stands in a base. This brass was terrible, and I only had some lime away, but it really cleaned it up well. So in a pinch, that worked. What I'm going to show you is some of the things that are kind of similar between a antique clock, and a typewriter. This is clock oil. It comes in a long stem. It's synthetic. The guy who's selling it is saying it's got a 2¼ inch metal tip. It's refillable. Works great for all types of clocks, like grandfather clocks and so forth. He's at Time Krieger. He's out of Princeton, Illinois. So this clock oil, I know they used it in like writers for the blind, those kind of machines. You need clock oil and typewriter oil for those. But the intricacies of a clock, you'll see here. Here's your mainspring under all its tension, and held by this side here, just this metal here. You've got all your little moving gears. All the early typewriters were based off of clock movement. And since I got this old clock and cleaned it up, and then it's working now. See how the guy up top turns with the world there? So this is saying that it's, if you line that I don't know, the pointer up, it's almost 10 o'clock at night. He makes 1 revolution per minute. Down off of his shank is a little rubber cup, or it's just a rubber stem that attaches to the other half down in the hole. So you just put the two halves together. This guy is making a motion for every second. Underneath here you have your wind up. This is your alarm. So if we were to turn this to, let's turn this to 10. Okay. Now I got to hold it by this, because the base of this actually becomes the becomes the bell itself. When you think about a bell and isn't that something? So I just wanted to show you all the little mechanicals though in there. And I just got done oiling it all, so it's really nice to get in there with this and oil all that. And then I'm going to put this back in this base here, as all clocks have a base, and this is what kind of allows this to ring and everything on its own. Okay, so I'm going to let my dad find the mark we made for how that sets in there, and how that, after that gets screwed down, after that gets lined up, we put this cage over that, and then these holes here around the base of the cage line up with the holes in the base of the brass of the clock. That's my dad's cat there, so. But the neat old clock factory, because I was reading the history of the typewriter book by a Michael Adler, and it starts out talking about the old Prague clocks and kind of the typewriter, how it started with the clockwork. Was little like engineered dolls with clockwork inside, and back in the days of the fountain pen, the doll would actually shake the pen to drippy ink, and then it would write. And that was kind of the beginnings of time there. So this is just a neat old clock project. I probably won't do many of them, but I thought I'd get this on film because it's actually working. But that mainspring in there too, I think in a pinch, if you needed one for a typewriter, you could probably rob one out of an old clock. So let's get one started here. Is that all lined up? I don't think we've got the holes lined up here. Yeah, I'm going to let you guys go at this, but you see how this goes together. It's just a neat project, and it'll take your experiences in gears, works, and such. You'll be so much more involved in understanding. Have a good night, everybody. Get yourself an old clock.